The last production that I was just involved in was really, really different than anything I've ever done before. It was essentially acted as a commercial, but with no money that a commercial has, because commercials, you have dough. This was essentially a low-budget film, but with a commercial schedule. So it was a one-day shoot out in Riverside, and we were shooting with an entirely different and state-of-the-art camera system that has not been done before. And there's a lot, and I can't go into a lot of detail on this, unfortunately, because I signed an NDA, but I know when this comes out, feel free to email me, and maybe at that point it's already out and I can tell you about it. But we essentially had to have live gunfire and all this crazy stunts and things happening. And I was brought on as basically the production logistical producer. So I was the guy that got, craft service, catering, transpo, grip electric, makeup, wardrobe, all of those sort of just logistical, like how, where are we going to put the production office, who's doing contract stuff. That all came under me. And then we had a separate entity that was not out of my budget, that was completely separate, that was the state-of-the-art camera, all the tech producer, and then another producer that was handling locations and casting and like providing the 2D camera package and stuff like that. And so I went into this going, okay, this is what I'm in charge of. And I made my contracts very clear and my side of things that like, this is what I'm in charge of, and I'm not dealing with insurance or any of that stuff. And I learned very, very quickly that that was a mistake on my part to not go, no, I need control of everything. Because you cannot in this job assume that everyone does their job, because they don't. And it sucks. But that's kind of the way it goes a lot of the time, is that there's always going to be someone you're working with that drops the ball. And I guess for me personally, I'm such a control freak in a way that I don't want to fall into those crosshairs that somebody dropped the ball and I'm sitting here going, oh, well, I assumed they did it. I just can't do that. And I know that in this last job, I didn't follow my gut. And of course, someone dropped the ball majorly. And it turned out that, myself and my production coordinator had to essentially prep 3 weeks of work in 3 days, like right before we started shooting, because the ball had been completely dropped on someone else's part. And it was my fault for not, it's my fault for assuming that person had done their job. Don't get me wrong, there's lots of people out there that rock their job and are really good at it, and I continue to work with those people. My production coordinator / production manager that's on all my movies, Sean O'Brien, is my right-hand man. When I say, like, hey, we got to get this done, it's going to get done. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to check in with him. It's great. And I have lots of people like that I love working with, that I have a hands-off approach with them because I've worked with them enough where I don't need to worry about that. I've never worked with that, on the past show, I hadn't worked with a lot of those people, and I shouldn't have taken people's word for it. And that was my mistake, and that was a big thing I kind of had to take away from the last show. That and how to make that state-of-the-art kind of camera system work, which is a whole separate thing. Again, I can't really talk a lot about, but it was insane. And I also got to play with, full load blanks and, these like booming loud gunfire and just the insanity that we were causing out in Riverside County. And also, I had to put out a fire with, and putting out a fire is, when things go bad on set, and sometimes you're able to see the smoke before the fire and you can go and stomp it out, but sometimes the fire erupts and you have to go out and put an extinguisher to it. And I walked onto set and I saw one of my PAs in a lockup getting screamed at by a very, very large gentleman. And I walked up and said, hello, what's going on? And it was an off-duty police officer that was screaming at my PA that, we had scared his daughter because of all the gunfire. And he's like, why isn't the street shut down, blah, blah, blah. And I am 100% on his side with his daughter being scared, and like, that sucks. And I would be absolutely upset myself. But I was explained to him that, like, look, we have city permits, we have county permits, we've called all of the police agencies nearby, any law enforcement agency that we had a number for, we called and said, you were going to get calls today. we have gunfire going on. We had signs up, yada, yada, yada. In Film LA would have put up giant signs because they're used to things like that that say, gunfire, don't panic, that kind of thing. Riverside, maybe not so much. They're not used to that. And that was another thing. I should have called them and been like, hey, listen, you guys need to put up these big signs. Again, though, that's one of those departments that I didn't have complete control over and wasn't in charge of when I should have. But I ended up calming the guy down, and he liked us a lot and complimented us that, it looked so real that's why he was about to, pull in and start shooting himself. So, that was good, and he was fine with us after that. But, it's those kind of things where you have to sort of just constantly be putting out fires.